Welcome to another episode of Both Sides of the Ball. I'm here with Coach Stock. I am Coach Kaysen, and today Coach Stock is going to install his main pass protection for you. And obviously, if you cannot protect it, you shouldn't throw it. And before we get going, first things first, when you go to draw up diagrams for routes, don't draw a line across.
That's a good one. I'm like, okay, that's a good one. That's the insider.
Secondly, go down there, hit subscribe, and make sure you get the bell icon so you don't miss any episodes. We're churning them out. All right, Coach, take it away. Do you think?
All right, guys. Well, like Coach Kaysen just mentioned, as you see up underneath there, if you cannot, you can't throw the ball without protection. The one thing I'm starting to hate more and more about coaches I'm starting to talk to is they're drawing up these great passing concepts, these vertical concepts. They look amazing. They look beautiful. You know, they're all deep concepts. But at the end of the day, if you don't have five guys, you know, to block for your quarterback to give you at least, I always say 5 to 6 seconds, you know, your life is going to be a living nightmare. All the good stuff you're drawing up, all the receiver good stuff you're drawing up, it's not going to make sense at all. So just for this one, I'm going to talk about one pass protection, but it's really two. And I'll explain how they differ by one or two things. But Coach Kaysen is, he's my director guy. So wow, there it is, perfect. So the first thing I do want to talk about, and I'm going to get through this real quick, is the keys to pass protection. One thing that I'm learning more and more that I've learned is, everybody has their own idea about why people miss pass protection blocks. And I'm not going to lie to you, 9 times out of 10, the reason most people miss blocks for pass protection is because they stop moving their feet. Every film that I see, every one-on-one film that I see, that's literally the first thing I look at. I want to see his feet movement, because as soon as your foot gets stuck in the dirt, as I say, you've lost. You've lost the entire concept. There's nothing else you can do. You've lost. So real quick, I'll run some quick points real quick about the keys to pass protection. The first thing that I always say is that you always want to make sure your hands is always what I say in the ready position. When you're pass blocking, you never want to have your hands at your hips. You never want to have your hands, as I say, towards your waist area. I always want your hands right there in the middle of your chest, right there, right up underneath your chin. The reason I always say right up underneath your chin is because the one thing D linemen try to get to is inside. It's inside of your chest frame. So if my hands are right underneath my chin, I've taken away his strike zone. That's one thing I preach big. And also a slight bend in the elbows. Most young guys that I've been around, they love to keep their hands extended, thinking that's doing something. But in all actuality, if you lock your elbows and the D lineman comes down with a club, he comes down anything, what's going to happen is when he clubs down, it's bringing your momentum down. Now you're leaning. Now you're in a big, terrible position. The slight bend in the arms a little bit. If he does get to you to pop you down a little bit, you can get back in a good position. The next point I have is balance. One thing that I see with linemen, they don't understand, as I would say, how to change direction very well, or how to change your weight. I never like for guys to have the weight on their tippy toes, meaning their toes are in the air. I always tell my linemen, I want you to have your entire foot in the ground. I don't want you to be on your toes, because if you're on your toes, you can easily get pulled. You can get pulled, and if you're on your heels, you can easily get pushed back, easily ran through. So I personally tell my linemen to try to keep your feet in the ground, but also I tell them don't get flat-footed. I know I just kind of contradicted myself a little bit. Don't get flat-footed, because you don't want to get flat-footed. If you get flat-footed, you can't move very well. You take on all your mobility. So I always try to tell them to make sure you're not too head heavy, or you're not too heavy on the back part. The next part is always protect inside. Especially for any lineman. The quarterback is always on the inside of you. The quickest path to the quarterback is to go inside. Protect at all costs the inside. take away the inside shoulder. I don't care what happens. You can get beat as long as you protect the inside of the quarterback, you protect the inside of the line. Then 9 times out of 10, you should be successful. The next part is always keep your chest big and bold. I tell my linemen, I want you to sit your chest big for a young lineman, as if they had a chest tattoo, and I want everybody in the world to read their chest tattoo. I tell them that because as soon as you get that little bend, if you start to bend too much, then you can easily get pulled. If you sit extremely too far back, like I said earlier, you can get shot through, ran through. And we'll talk about that in a little bit in a second. Also, I always tell them to keep a slight knee bend. Because if you have a knee bend, that means you're not standing straight up. You never want to stand straight up as an O-lineman. It goes back to old football rules. As soon as you stand straight up, your night's over. That play's done for you. You just been on somebody's highlight tape. So always keep a slight knee bend in your knees. And also, don't kick just to kick. What do you mean? So if I'm a tackle and I have a 5 technique outside of me, and if he does not go straight up the field, I'm not just going to kick just to kick. I tell my lineman, take 2 kicks and then react. Because if you kick, what did I just do? I just gave up all the inside. Now he can cross my face, go back inside of me, and ruin my night. Just don't just be out there kicking just to kick, just because it looks good. And the last point I always tell my linemen is always keep your feet moving. Soon as you stop moving, as soon as your feet get stuck in the ground, something happens. Now you're chasing people. And that's the one thing I hate is to see my linemen chasing D linemen, because that's not our job. All right. Coach Case, the next one from. All right. So real quick, I'm gonna go through some things that I use, some terminology I use, and I'm going to use these in the next few slides in just a second. So if you hear me say a one set, as it says, is a power set. I am taking away space. I am trying to close the gap between myself and the guy in front of me. All right. I use this a lot with one techniques, and it'll all make sense in just a second. I promise you, it'll all make sense. With one techniques. The next one is our two sets, I call it. It's literally where you pick your foot up and you put it in the ground. Normally we do this when there's no immediate threat for a guard, really. It's mostly for guards. If they have no immediate threat, I don't want them out there kicking just to be kicking. So I tell them, if you have no immediate threat, you take a 2 set and then react off of whatever may happen. And then your 3 set is your normal kick slide that we all know. Mostly used probably for tackles. The guards use it a lot when they have a 3 technique trying to take away that space there. My jump sets are for play action where I want it to look like run. I want to look like we're trying to get into you, but it's really a play action pass or some kind of hot pass or something where I want to look like run, but it's not run. All right, and then the last one on this one is a slide set. We use this one a lot for our full slide protection, and it's literally just your lateral stepping either to the right, left, taking away that gap in slide protection. So let's get into one of my day one install pass protection. So this is a half man, half slide. All right, and I call it right. We just say right. Keep it, as I always say, keep it stupid simple. Right. So the reason we call it right is because the first thing I tell my linemen in this is 5-0 linemen. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be 4 down linemen. So that means we can take one more guy, and make ourselves responsible for him. And you'll see in a minute what I mean by that. So if we take the right play side backer, then the running back is obviously responsible for the backside guy. He will pick up that 6th guy in the box or whatever, and it's a diagram coming up in just a second about what it looks like. And then the center, I always tell my center, you always go to the play side call. So if it's a right call, as I'm going to show you here, you're always going to set to the right. And we work the half slide stuff on the back, stuff on the backside. But I always want him to that front side, so I have 3 guys to my play side call, and it all makes sense in this next slide here. So this is what it looks like. So if we call right, all right, and we get this look that's on the diagram to the right, as you see in the red, we're responsible for that red, that 5th guy. That's our 5th responsibility. So when we break the huddle, the lineman knows right. The first thing they're going to do, they're going to find that play side guy to the right. ID him, Mike, 51, you, whatever how it is, you want to call it. And then that's who we're responsible for. So I'm going to go through from left to right and, talk about how we protect this. So the first thing is the left tackle. He's going to take our 3 set, like I talked about in the last slide, protecting inside for that DN. All right. So the left guard is what we want to do with him is we want him to take away that space. I want him to take away that space because he's in a man type protection. So he's going to take a 1 set, attacking the inside half of that D tackle, taking him away. All right. I want to make sure that we are attacking his inside. So as him being a left guard, obviously he's going to be in a left stance with his left foot staggered. I want him to take away that ground. I want him to close the ground between him and that backside tackle. The center, as I said, he goes to the play side call. All right. So in this diagram here, there's one technique to the play side. All right. So if sometimes I like to say you are covered. The center is technically covered. So since the center is now covered, the center is responsible for that one technique. All right. He's responsible for that one technique. So the center is going to take a slide step. I do not tell my centers to take 3 sets. I do not tell my centers to kick slide. I do not tell my centers to take 1 set. The centers literally can only slide left or right or take a 2 set if there's no immediate threat. I don't want them kick sliding. Because it's hurt me a few times in the past. Trying to have that guy kick sliding, and it seems like he has so much on his brain. The ball doesn't get to the quarterback. Just so much stuff happens. So the right guard, he is technically responsible since he's uncovered for our fifth responsibility. So what he's going to do is at the snap of the ball, if the nose plays his gap, if he straight rushes his gap, the center takes him. He's going to give the center what I call a helping hand. All right, so he's going to sit with his knees bent. He's going to give a nice hand right inside with his eyes set Mike Backer. All right, he do not take his eyes off of that Mike Backer no matter what. All right, but he's going to sit in to help that nose, help his center until an immediate threat shows or immediate, some that might shows his face. All right, and then the right tackle, he takes 3 set for that DM. Now the running back, this is what pretty much changes is between the running back and the ID. So if we take the right, the running back obviously takes the left. So if he has the left, then what he's going to do is he protects inside out. I always tell him, I get a question like, well, Coach, what if the wheel and the backside safety, whoever comes, I always tell them you protect inside. Always protect inside. Never chase outside and leave the inside guy coming because the quickest path to the quarterback is always inside. And just like in my notes to the left, it says if the wheel bails, he checks outside, makes sure no other immediate threat comes, then we usually check release him or send him out on some kind of pattern or something. So the next slide we're going to show you is actually some kind of it's the Rams, one of my favorite clips with the Rams running their version of half man half slide. So I want you to hold on real quick, Coach, before you play it. As you see, there's a 1 technique to the right. All right, so if there's a 1 technique to the right, then what we're going to do is we're going to ID. One second, I'm going to get fancy here. This is the ID right there. That is an ID man. That is our 5th lineman. That's the guy we, as the O-lineman, are taking. So, Coach, if you play it for me, you'll see 7-9. He sets out for that DN. That's his responsibility. That's a little foggy clip there. He sets out for that DN, and actually that's perfect. That's actually perfectly free. I don't even care that it's further. As you see, the only difference is what I would say is that this guard. The only difference is this guard needs to have his eyes, okay? He needs to have his eyes on that guy right there. Because that is our 5th responsibility. That's the guy we're picking up. All right, so that's the only difference between this clip and what they did is that instead of ID having his eyes there on that track, his eyes would be on, I think that's number 40. They picked it up perfectly. The lineman, there was no pressure. The running back, he checked release. He made sure that his guy did not come. His guy didn't come. He bails. All right. Great protection, but, incomplete pass. That is what it looked like with this front. All right. So real quick, this is a blitz stunt. This is where my rules they don't change. It's just we have to communicate. The one thing I've learned with this protection is that if you do not communicate, you are in trouble. They can get you in any way, shape, or form. You must communicate. So in this one, it's still the right call. We're still IDing the right middle backer. But But, all right, we're going to start with the left tackle. The left tackle's DN crosses his face. All right, he is now not his responsibility anymore, because I always tell my lineman, if one guy leaves, another guy is going to replace him. So he spikes across his face. The left guard with his one set, all right, should pick up the end. All right. And this is where it gets very, very funky. All right. So we as a lineman, all right, we have went ahead and took responsibility, because in theory, all right, I tell my linemen, all right, if that end goes away, all right, everybody goes away, nobody comes, you just sit and help. But what we're going to do is we're going to pick up that wheel. All right, we picked up that wheel. So now the running back, all right, the running back now has to take inside. So he's still on his same path. He has inside out. All right. The guard crosses his face, so the running back will eventually pick up the lineman. I do not. Coach Casey made a great point in the last clip. I do not like the running back on a lineman, because he does not like blocking. The running back, he feels he's not there to block. That is the one thing that kind of screws this a little bit with me. But there is an adjustment that we do make off of it sometimes. If I feel that nose is just, that tackle is just killing us. All right, what we'll do is we will just latch on man to man with the left tackle, left guard, and their guys, and the back picks up the wheel. But that's where the communication comes in. That's where the guys have to talk to each other at. All right, let's look at the center real quick. All right, the center takes a slide step, protecting protecting that nose. He's going to take that nose away. So if you look on the right side, and this is where I tell my linemen, I preach this all the time, your eyes always lead you to the promised land. All right, so he sees that mic goes away. All right, his eyes follow that mic go away. The mic goes away. His eyes is now going to lead him to the end coming across the tackle's face. All right, so his eyes was just led him to that DN. He picks up the DN. The right tackle now will make a switch call. And the reason he calls switch, because his guy he is responsible for crossed his face. And as he crosses his face, his eyes goes away. But when he crosses, his eyes now go to the mic to the guy replacing. Our rule is always, when one guy leaves, another guy is going to replace. All right. All right. So this last one is a clip of one of the greatest teams in America. Go Gators. The Gators picking this up, and they do have a tight end look in. It doesn't really change anything, because the tight end actually goes out on the route. So if we're calling the right call here, what we're going to do is we're going to take this guy. All right, that's our guy there. Actually, the back's on the wrong side, but I'm going to roll with it anyways. All right, we're going to take that guy there. Play it for me, Coach. All right, so what happened was – we'll switch it up there. So what happened was, I got it backwards. They made a left call. So it still works out perfect, and this is the change of it. Yeah, got it in my notes here. The change of it is, it's the same thing as we're going to go left. It's just now the back's on the opposite side. All right, we're still. I tell my lineman there's no immediate threat. So if you see 74, all right, he does a terrible job of crossing his feet. I hate that personally. And what they did was put the running back on that back, and he took responsibility there. All right. And we, as a lineman, took the down lineman, and if there was a backer that came backside off of that, but there wasn't. They played a little twist on here, and I want you to look real quick at the center and the right guard about the communication part of it. So his guy goes across. 74 guys crosses his face. He's going right now. 74 don't have an immediate threat, but his eyes lead him. His eyes leads him right into the guy coming across. If one guy leaves, another guy is going to replace. All right. And then if you want to get even more fancy with it, Michigan did a great job by number 19. As 74 sees that guy, all right, as he sees him go across, right now he should be making a switch call to 65. So 65 should come off, 74 should switch. All right. This protection is all about communication. You got to communicate with each other. If you do not communicate with each other, bad things do happen, because football generally with alignment, if you're not communicating, you're not winning. That's what I tell my linemen. We got to be able to talk. We got to be the tightest 5 group of people on this team. And on one of our videos, we're actually going to break down some steps and stuff about how linemen, some one-on-one stuff, just to see how we break down the way we look at it. But that's it, guys. That's my right protection, my day one pass protection. that I'm going to teach day one. I'm not going to lie to you. This protection takes about, I'm not going to lie, about a week just to get the basics down because there's so much stuff they can do. There's so many questions I get asked. So it usually takes about a good week and a half just to where I'm comfortable enough to run this protection in a game-like situation. And if all fails, if this doesn't work, you just go to full slide. Run it back in there, full slide, left, right. There it is. Boom. That is my right protection, guys. I appreciate it. Like I said, if you have any questions or anything, drop it down in the box below, and I will gladly answer them. That's my time, guys.
All right. I think one no, I don't really have any questions. I think one that this would be a great we'll put together to where there's a part 2 of this that'll allow you to talk more of the technique.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
It's much more schematic. Obviously, it's the standard look. I thought what you did with the backside 3 was really interesting, but I feel like this is a great place for you to build off, and we can start talking the minute parts of where the gap, understand how to deal with twists and stuff, man side, what the back's job is from the man side. When you go to that gap side, how they're all sliding. But I think you nailed the main keys.
The main part, yeah. Like I said, wasn't nothing too crazy.
Yeah, it's funny that something that's supposedly so macho or whatever is so much important, that your feet are good and your communication is good, that it allows you to actually win in pass protection. So that'll be the end of this episode. I am Coach Kaysen. My Twitter is at First Gen Coach. Below me is Coach Stockling. His is at Coach W Stock. All right, make sure you subscribe. We're going to keep pushing out these videos. Hope y'all have a blessed night, and we will see y'all next time. This has been Both Sides of the Ball.